So let's talk a little bit more about properties and properties that have to do with real numbers. And let's look at a couple of examples here, a few examples, and see if we can guess the right property that's being displayed on the screen here. So let's take the first number right here, the first problem here, if you will. So we have 5 plus 2 is equal to 2 plus 5. What kind of property? What property is that? Well, that's the commutative property, if you haven't guessed. I'll put a C here for commutative. That has to do with order, right? So whenever you're ordering something in a different way, that has to do with commutative property. So what about 24 times 1 is equal to 24? Well, that's the identity property. The identity property says when you multiply a number times 1, it's going to be the number itself, like self-identity. It's the identity property. What about right here when we have 3 plus 9 plus 8 grouped in some way, and then is equal to 3 plus 9 plus 8 grouped in a different way, and the parentheses are just around a different set of numbers there. Well, that's the associative property, and I'll go ahead and put an A on top of that. That's the associative property. All it has to do with is grouping and how you group things together. And both sides of the equation are actually equal. It doesn't matter how you group things when you're adding them together, you're going to get the same answer. So what about this last one here? 4 times 2 plus 3, and you have 2 plus 3 in the parentheses there, is equal to 4 times 2 plus 4 times 3. Well, that's the distributive property. Now, I'll go ahead and put a D right here for distributive. That's the distributive property because it says you can take a number and distribute it to each of the numbers within that parentheses and get the exact same answer. So this is 4 times 5, which is 20. And then 4 times 2 is 8 plus 12, which is also 20. So that's just some example, a couple of exercises we could do to kind of walk through some of the properties of real numbers. Thank you for watching.